Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So a few days ago I was looking at someone on YouTube who went to the Everest base camp, and that sparked a little bit of intrigue in me. Like, I have no idea about mountaineering, but I always feel extremely freaked out by people who are constant climbers, who are always up in the mountain, climbing and achieving certain goals and trying to break certain records and stuff like that. They have a different kind of passion. I have obviously heard about people not being able to return from their climbing adventures. It's like when people go up there, they know that they are taking a huge risk and they know that they might not be able to return, and the possibility of the fact that if they are not returning, then nobody will probably know what happened to them. Anyway, so in today's video, we are going to be discussing Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. So it's actually a narrative nonfiction. It's the style of nonfiction where the author basically narrates whatever they are going to write about in a form of a story which is not a fiction, but obviously the real life happenings, but in a story format. Into Thin Air. Let's talk about this. The author basically talks about this particular incident in May 1996, where the author himself went on the expedition to climb the mountain Everest along with a group of people. And these type of expeditions are usually called guided tours. So basically there is a head guide who is responsible for taking care of the entire group and guaranteeing basically that they will help you reach at the top. So in May 1996, the expedition that the author was part of encountered severe weather conditions when they were descending after reaching the summit. So a lot of people died actually in that storm. There were a lot of questions, why did that happen and whatever, but the point of the matter is that the author basically explained his journey. Basically, I would say it's an incredibly well-written book. Giving it stars kind of seems like an injustice to the book because it's real life events and you cannot just be like, I like this story, I didn't like the story. It's kind of absurd. When I was done reading the book, I had, it's still even to this day, I feel this eerie kind of sadness that passes over me sometimes whenever I think about this book specifically, because dying in an isolated place, knowing that you won't ever be able to be saved, knowing that you will not ever be able to see the faces of your loved ones, having all these ambitions, humans like we are humans, it's such a weird feeling. I got to know so many facts about mountaineering, about what happens when people climb Everest and stuff. So there is this common quote that goes on multiple times in the book, and it's like, climbing Everest is not the hardest part or the hardest task. Coming back down is the hardest task, because people are so into the moment and they're filled with so much adrenaline and they just are so focused that they want to climb that thing. They just want to get it off of their bucket list. They just want to accomplish that particular thing, that they disregard all the other factors that they might notice, like diminishing oxygen in their oxygen tanks, or maybe fatigue that they are experiencing because of all the climbing, and the fact that weather conditions are worsening, or they can see an impending storm coming. They disregard all of that and reach the summit, and then once they accomplish that, they just everything just sort of comes onto them like a rainfall, and they're like, I have to go back down too. And a lot of people actually are unable to go back down because they are so fatigued. And also, did you know that people who die while climbing Mount Everest, their bodies are left there? So there basically are around 200 or more than 200 bodies up there. And because the temperatures are so harsh and there's so much cold, these dead bodies don't decompose. So they're like intact dead bodies up there. At the very end of the novel, I realized that this novel is facing a lot of criticism as well from other climbers, or faced criticism from other climbers, because some of them are no more in this world. And the reason was that the author has used a certain points. I would say he hasn't played the blame game. He hasn't said that it happened because of this specific person, but he has obviously tried to understand what went wrong. And he has, in passing, mentioned certain events that happened that, if they didn't happen, could have changed the outcome of the entire expedition. And I have also read that Jon Krakauer has skipped certain important events. The fact that they were receiving daily weather reports because IMAX team was there and they were filming for a documentary or something, so they were receiving daily weather reports. So that means that the other groups also that were present there were also receiving weather reports. So why no one really got the report that there was a storm coming? Okay, now coming to the one bit that I didn't like was whenever we would be in the middle of thick situation, and then all of a sudden the author would go back in history and start narrating what happened in 1800s. So that just kind of stopped the flow of the immersion. I feel like if separate chapters were dedicated to history itself, if the author wanted to talk about those, then that would have been better, but it was hindering the flow of the story. Anyway, one more thing that I want to mention is the author is mentioning of survival's guilt. So because of certain decisions taken by the author, a lot of people got hurt, like emotionally hurt, especially one family. Like, I know that, people are emotional when it comes to their own people, but you cannot dismiss the fact that everybody was tired, everybody was feeling the burn of high altitude and low oxygen or whatever. You cannot really blame people in that way. I actually really enjoyed reading this, well, as much as you can enjoy reading such a thing that is extremely heavy. It makes you feel as if you are actually a part of this expedition going up to the mountain. Your heart beats hard when they are going through tricky situations. Have you ever had the feeling where you were wanting to achieve something really badly, and then once you achieve that thing, you just come at a standstill and you're like, now what? I have done this. You spend your probably sometimes entire lives trying to achieve something. For some people, like, it's cracking MBBS. Some people, it's cracking some government exam. After that's done, do you ever sit down and think, what next? So that's why I fear attaching myself to something that's so, temporary. I will never be able to understand such people, honestly. If you have read the book, do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I would absolutely love to know what other people think about this book, honestly. With that note, we have come to the end of this video. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. And I will see you guys in the next video, inshallah. Till then, take care. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.